Hello everyone, today is 28th of August 2023 and here I am going to discuss the important news article from The Hindu. This is the first article we are going to discuss, and what is important in this article that Indira Gandhi smartphone scheme. It is a scheme launched by Rajasthan government on August 10. In the scheme's first phase, the state Congress government plans to distribute 40 lakh smartphones to three categories of beneficiaries: those who received pension for widows and girl students, and the women head of the family who have completed 100 days of work under the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Schemes. So this is a smartphone distribution schemes especially for the women. So here is the next article. ISRO releases graph of temperature variation of topsoil in the lunar south pole. What is there in the article? The ISRO on Sunday released a graph of temperature variation on the lunar surface with an increase in the depth measured by the CHASTE payload aboard Chandrayaan 3's Vikram lander module. So, according to Chandra surface thermophysical experiment measurement, the temperature profile of the lunar topsoil around the south pole to understand the thermal behavior of the moon's surface. The payload has temperature probe equipped with a controlled penetration mechanism capable of reaching a depth of 10 centimeter. So it can reach up to 10 centimeter beneath the surface, and the probe is fitted with 10 individual temperature sensor. The presented graph illustrates the temperature variation of the lunar surface or near surface at the various depths as recorded during the probe's penetration. So this is the first such profile for lunar south pole, and here we can see the graph. Here is the graph shared by ISRO. Here we are seeing that this is the surface level, and here the temperature about 50 degree, and as the depth is increasing the temperature is reducing, and at the depth of 80 meter or mm the temperature reached minus 10 degree. Here we can read in the graph presented by the ISRO, the temperature of the lunar surface has been examined by the Vikram payload at different depth. As deciphered from the chart, the temperature remained around 50 degrees Celsius on the ground, and it increased to the over 60 degree at the height of 20 mm, and at minus 80 mm depth, which is the below the ground, the temperature drops to minus 10 degree centigrade or Celsius. The next article, as Pragyan digs deep into the moon, scientists at VSSC Vikram Sarabhai Space Center lab turned their gaze to solar wind. What is there in the article? Scientists at the Vikram Sarabhai Space Center here are getting ready to unravel the secret of the solar wind as the Aditya L1 mission meant to study the sun lifts off in the September. Plasma analyzer package for Aditya Papa payload aboard Aditya L1, one of the 7 scientific payload aboard the challenging mission, was developed by the SPL to gain deeper insight into the phenomenon of solar wind as the constant stream of charged particle from the sun is called. And the Papa payload will study the composition of the solar wind. It will look at the energy of electrons and the energy and mass of the proton ions in it, and the study will also cover the angular variation. And the ISRO described Aditya L1 as the first space-based Indian mission to study the sun. And according to the ISRO, the payloads, Papa payloads, are designed to study the chromosphere the photosphere and the outermost layer of the sun using the electromagnetic and particle detector. The ISRO will use XL variant of the polar satellite vehicles to place the Aditya L1 spacecraft in the low Earth orbit. Once launched, it will take 125 days to travel to its destination at L1. We can see the details about Aditya L1 mission. Aditya L1 mission is the first space-based Indian mission to study the sun. Second, it will be launched by PSLV XL launched vehicle. Third, the spacecraft shall be placed in the hollow orbit around L1 of the Sun's Earth system, which is about 1.5 million km from the Earth. The distance of L1 from the Earth is 1.5 million km. A satellite placed in the hollow orbit around the L1 point has the major advantage. What is the advantage? Continuously viewing the sun without any occultations or eclipses. Next, this will provide a greater advantage in observing solar activities and their effect on the space weather in real time. And the spacecraft carries 7 payloads to observe the photosphere, chromosphere and outermost layer of the sun, the corona, using electromagnetic and particles and magnetic field detectors. Next, using the special advantage point L1, 4 payloads directly view the sun and the remaining 3 payloads carry out in situ studies of the particles and fields at the Lagrange point L1 and thus provided important scientific study and propagatory effect of the solar dynamics in the interplanetary medium. The next article, at least 7 killed after Haiti gang open fire protest riot group. So Haiti is a country. Let's see its location. It is a country of Caribbean islands group. Here we can see the Haiti. This is Haiti and this is Caribbean Sea, and here we can see the Gulf of Mexico. This is Havana, this is Central America, and this is South America, and this is USA. Next article, world number 1 An Si-young of South Korea and Thailand's Kunlavut Vititsarn won their maiden women's and men's single title in the World Badminton Championship in Copenhagen. Remember the location also, Copenhagen, on Sunday. Here is the next article. Neeraj Chopra crowned the world champion. The Neeraj Chopra added a world title to his Olympic gold, recording a best throw of 88.17 meter on Sunday. And the 2023 World Athletic Championship is the 19th edition of the World Athletic Championship, which were held from 19 to 27 August 2023 at the National Athletics Center in Budapest, Hungary. Here is the next article, somatic mutation, a genomic revolution hiding inside our cells. In this article, some terms is important, and here we can see a term, somatic genetic mutation. What is somatic genetic mutation? An error that occurs in the DNA after birth but during development. After birth but during development is called somatic genetic mutation. Their occurrence is driven by the repeated copy pasting of the genome, and which means there will be a more somatic genetic mutation the older an individual is and the higher the turnover of the tissue. We should read again that their occurrence is driven by repeated copy pasting of the genome, and which means there will be a more somatic genetic mutations the older an individual is, and the higher the turnover of the tissue. Turnover is the replacement of the old cells with the new ones. So as the turnover will increase, the possibilities of somatic genetic mutation will increase. Sometimes a somatic genetic mutation can render a cell fitter than others, which leads to a formation of tumor. So these mutations are called driver mutations. So when the somatic genetic mutation can render a cell fitter than others, which leads to the formation of the tumors, then it will be called as driver mutation. And somatic genetic variants are important for a number of normal physiological processes. For example, the immune cells in our body, which produce antibodies, undergo an enormous amount of somatic changes to create diverse protein. And this protein recognize and bind to a specific pathogen, forming a library of cells, each with a specific protein. During an infection, the body selects cells from this library and depending on which can bind to the pathogen better and uses them to make antibodies. Here, somatic genetic variants play an important role in development of cancer. We know that somatic changes can cause a cancer to develop and that cancers can accelerate the development of somatic changes. So, they can help with early detection, diagnosis and prognosis. Early detection and diagnosis of cancer rely on the fact that certain pattern called mutational signatures of genetic variation are characteristics of a specific cancer. And there is a technology to detect DNA from tumor cells that has escaped the cells into the blood or fluid to spot the cancer early. Similarly, certain variation in the cancer could be used as a signature of the disease progresses and or to track how tumor has responded to some course of therapy. So this is about somatic mutation, and thanks for watching.